Hello on a marvelous Thursday. How's it going?
I don't get
it. How's it going?
Explain the joke.
I don't know. It's that DC Comics. It's Snyderverse. Welcome. I'm Eric. This is Bailey, who has not seen a Fast and Furious movie.
I'm sorry.
I'm still reeling. Kim is with us. Who has seen Kim, who has seen Fast and Furious movies. We're here to talk about...
You didn't ask me, but I have.
Yes, I knew you had. We discussed
You have the air of someone who's seen the Fast and Furious movies.
Of course. Yeah.
We must remedy this great injustice. However, we're here to talk about She-Hulk episode 7.
Welcome to Fast and Furious Chat,
That's
episode
right.
7.
What do you think the 7th Fast and Furious movie was about? We're going to talk about The Retreat, episode 7 of She-Hulk. Full spoilers follow, so if you haven't seen it, go away or stick around and listen to us talk about it. 3, 2, 1, full spoilers for The Retreat. Let us discuss. Kim, what did you think of this, the 7th episode of She-Hulk, Attorney at Law?
First of all, you know what I'm going to start with? My drink for this week.
Yes, the best part of the week.
Which is blue curacao based.
All right, nice.
You can't really drink that on its own, so I did turn it into a cocktail, which is apparently Blue Lagoon, which has vodka and lemonade in it.
See, that sounds lovely. This is the first time you're drinking one that I'd get in on, for sure.
I mean, I'd try some of the others, but I am a little more intrigued by this one. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I remember in Madison's list, she did just say blue curacao. I'm like, Madison, what? And I'm glad you aren't just drinking a cup of that, because nothing is worth that.
I wasn't bold enough to do that, so anyway. There was no alcohol in this episode, except, I guess, on her dates. But it felt like another detour for a long time for me, like the wedding episode last week. And then we got our suspicions confirmed. We all felt that Josh was suspicious last week and was not who he made himself out to be. And I would say that my heart really broke for Jen in this episode, because we've all been here, I think, men, women, whatever, you know. Not the blood getting stolen part. That's never happened to me.
Say for yourself.
I'm very happy to hear that. Very grateful to hear that.
But it kind of really captured that kind of walking on air feeling you get when you first meet someone and it seems to be going well, and then the crushing disappointment of it all. And so I really felt for her. But I do still have reservations about the fact that they're making dating a priority for a woman in this series, and you know, this kind of leaning into stereotypically female behavior when they could do something different. Anyway, the humor wasn't always hitting home for me, and I could forgive this series more, I think, if it was funnier for its failings. It's a bit hit and miss. There were bits that made me laugh, especially some of the exchanges between some of the new superheroes that we saw.
Or redeemed supervillains.
Yeah.
Bailey, what did you think of this episode?
I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good exploration of Jen's character. I thought it gave Tatiana Maslany the most to work with. That she's been her monologue in the group therapy circle, I thought was really heartbreaking, really well delivered. Thank God she got to do it with her human face on and not her ghoulish avatar mask. I will say, pacing-wise, overall, I question having what is essentially a bottle episode right after what felt spiritually like also a bottle episode. Just 2 in a row, it's starting to feel very removed from the main plot. And while I wouldn't want to complain about a filler episode, I would say that this one has felt the most fillery so far. And while I appreciate learning more about Jen's character, basically the only important plot things that seem to have happened in the first and last minute. And so I feel like there are going to be people out there who hated this episode for that reason. And I didn't, but I feel like it did make me wonder if we were going anywhere with this.
I don't know. I actually really liked this episode, though I have one big caveat about that. I really liked that, I guess I didn't see it as filler at all because it was, so much, it it's all kind of aimed towards Jen's big monologue at the end, which was such a great moment, for her acting-wise, because Tatiana Maslany's really good at the acting thing, but also just, like, character-wise, because I felt like it did kind of work together with last week's episode. It's funny, because last week's episode was called Just Jen, but she says Just Jen in that monologue as far as, like, how she feels. I totally get what you're saying, Kim, about, like, it feels very cliche that it's all focused on dating. I think what she's ultimately talking about is not saying it's just dating. It's more about how people in general perceive, like, She-Hulk is so much more exciting. They're using dating, I think, as, like, it's an easy shortcut, like, to show that. Like, how do you show that she's more exciting to people as She-Hulk? Well, guys seem more into She-Hulk. I do think they could have maybe done that differently, but it's just like, here's our easy way to depict that. But I did like how it all kind of led to that sort of moment and her. And talking about the Daredevil of it all, it's just like, even in that clip in the trailer, what he's talking to her about like kind of reconciling the lawyer and maybe the superheroing part, I felt like this was the episode that was about her just even reconciling being She-Hulk. And now we're going to get into the, like, can she also do, like, the superhero thing on top of that? So I liked it on that. My big little vent here is so specific, or maybe it's not, I don't know, is Wrecker shows up at this group. And she doesn't, it bugged me when she didn't talk to Tatiana, I keep doing that, Titania, about, like, why they actually fought the first time. By the way, I got called out by B. Hughes, who says, weekly reminder that Titania was fleeing traffic court in episode 1 because
I
Eric
said that last
seems
time.
incapable, constitutionally, that's funny, I'm like, wow, like, constitutionally incapable, remembering that. I know that that's what they've said. I still feel like Jen should talk to her about, hey, you busted through a wall and we fought. But also with Wrecker, it's like, because he tried to take her blood, it feels like there should have been, like, hey, it's not that you just jumped me, like, there was something you were trying to do there. So I wish they'd dug into that a little more.
I think it was a little sus that he was the one who stopped them from finding Josh to, like, kick his butt. I didn't notice that the first time that he was the one who stopped them, but the second time I did notice that. And it occurs to me that they were likely helping out the same person, and so whether or not Wrecker was actually rehabilitated,
right?
The fact is he was the one who stopped them from going and seeing Josh face to face.
Yeah, that's true.
Which I find intriguing.
You would have thought that in this scenario, if he's redeemed and he comes across Jen and he's trying to help her in their little circle, that he would have said, "Hey, you should watch out. Someone is really after you." And he said nothing, so it definitely, I agree with you, Bailey, it rings alarm bells. And you know, the whole that he's there with Abomination, it's are they in cahoots? Maybe. I don't think so. I think that he will end up fighting alongside She-Hulk.
I think so too. I mean, I definitely think he's covering something when he's asked, like, hey, your inhibitor is malfunctioning, and he kind of ho-hums about, maybe I went too close to the electric fence.
I thought that was because of the Matador guy, because later in the episode, he was like, we've already talked to you about not using bioelectricity in group. To me, that was them saying, it was definitely just that guy accidentally zapping him.
I feel like he's turning into Abomination on the sly, but I don't think it's because he's a bad guy. I think it's, sometimes you want to be Abomination.
He's a bad guy. But he's not a bad guy.
But by the way, I'm going to mention one quick one from the top of the chat here, just because I did not agree with this at all. But I don't know, maybe Trape X says this show continues to insult the audience like you need a previously on because you can't remember this guy. It's just a joke. It's just I thought it was a funny, but also I do think it speaks to, I recognized him when he walked in, but I also think it speaks to the group of us who are talking about this here, and even people that are watching a chat about She-Hulk probably are more prone to remember the Wrecker from the Wrecking Crew, because I saw people on Twitter say, I appreciated that because I didn't remember who that guy was when he walked in.
Yeah, I thought it was cute.
Yeah.
But I do love giving airtime to people who hate watch the show every week. Guys, at a certain point, you're just watching the show. You know that, right?
I promise, Trapex, they're not trying to insult you. No, I thought that was a really funny joke. But let's talk about the Obamaste. Am I pronouncing that correctly? This group. What did you think, Kim, of this gathering of the most powerful supervillains of all time?
I mean, I thought the humor in this bit felt a bit contrived, and some of it landed, some of it didn't. But I really liked Porcupine, or Porcupong, as I'm calling him now.
Sure.
after all that time in that suit. That was funny, that bit when he takes his mask off and, you know, and then he says, oh, what's wrong? Why? Am I ashy? No, you stink.
I quite liked him as well. Yeah, I thought this was like a fun, obviously purposely D-list sort of group of guys. Is there anyone stand out to you, Bailey, amongst this?
Who is Saracen's dad?
Oh, the guy who wishes he was a vampire?
Yeah, who thinks he's a vampire. Because they were like, not everyone's trying to steal blood. This isn't about your dad or something like that. And I know that they're dancing around Blade ultimately coming out, so I was just wondering if maybe something was being set up there, but maybe it was just a throwaway joke about how people's parents are sometimes weird and shape our own weirdness.
I think it was that, by the way, Saracen is
Mom.
one. Hi, Bailey's mom. I think, it's funny because Saracen is the most. I didn't recognize that name. I recognized everyone else's goofy persona. I'm like, Saracen, he's a super obscure Punisher villain who has nothing to do with vampirism. So it literally feels like that was just like, here, what's a name we own that we can but also I think that they are having fun mentioning vampires when they know they're going to introduce vampires.
Yeah, it feels like them mentioning mutants at this point, where they're like,
I think there is actually a vampire called Saracen as well in the comics.
Is there?
Really?
I couldn't find anything about him.
I found one.
Your research is better than mine.
Bonkers to have two characters named Saracen.
There was also a Saracen in the Gladiators over here.
And there's Matt Saracen from Friday Night Lights, which is a great show that everyone should watch and cry.
There you go.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I'm not a big football fan.
No, I'm not either. And it's still a great show. It's still the greatest show. I don't even understand what's happening when they're playing in that show. And I'm still like, it's so good. But yeah, I definitely enjoyed this group and their dynamic, and the fact that like how they became super protective of Jen, and like that they were like, let's go. Was it Manbull who's like, let's go kill Josh?
Yes. I thought it was great. I thought they were very charming. I thought Tim Roth was very charming. I liked them as a group. I liked how they were with Jen. I liked that she got to be goofy. I liked that she got to do a monologue. I wish slightly more had happened in this episode. I think small moments of setup happened in this episode, like the mentioning of the best female lawyer of the year, which is a very funny award, by the way. Like Nikki being like, are we going to go to a gala? I assume that they're going to go to a gala.
I assume they will too.
I wonder if that's where they're going to meet Daredevil, if maybe he also has been nominated for Best Female Lawyer of the Year.
Is he nominated for Best Blind Lawyer of the Year? And it's really offensive on that level as well?
I mean, it's very, like these different subcategories, perhaps, but it felt like meager bits of setup being thrown in with like nice character moments, which I, again, don't mind, but it was pacing wise, it felt weird after the wedding episode to me.
It did make me feel like because I really liked both these episodes, but it also made me I saw someone, I can't remember who, sorry, but an Entertainment Journo tweet the other day that a lot of streaming comedies, and specifically make him miss when there was like full network seasons of comedies, because you get more of like time with the supporting cast and just time to kind of experiment. And I do feel that way, where I'm like, oh wow, there's only 2 episodes left. And not because I'm like, they have to solve the plot, because I don't think the show has ever tried to be or meant to be like super plot heavy. It is trying to be a situation comedy. But it did make me think like, oh yeah, like because we've been away from the court stuff with Jen for a couple episodes, it feels like we needed more of the regular stuff before that happened, you know?
Yeah. I mean, we could just rewatch the first episode next, since apparently that's where that was
gonna be
go.
your favorite episode of TV ever.
My favorite episode of this show.
Yeah. It's funny, it's funny because I see Candy Cover say that really sad that the main plot of the episode was that she was not getting a text back. I mean, I'm cool with that because it's relatable. Like I think it's fine that this is like this show's stakes can be like, whoa, this sucks. This guy is not. I felt really bad for her. I know, our lights.
Basically, whoever the main antagonist of this show ends up being, this guy Josh is the worst villain that's ever been in the MCU. I think. What a piece of work!
I wish we could swear on this particular show.
You can say, words.
What's the worst word I can say, Eric?
No, I was gonna say you can say effing. There's words you can say.
Really?
Yeah, I think that evokes.
Okay, well, fuck that guy.
I wasn't saying to say that, but whatever.
Eric gave me permission. You all heard it.
I was saying she should say F that guy.
Oh, okay. I thought you were just letting me say it. No. We get one per show to keep it PG-13.
Unfortunately, we don't.
Sorry, I dibsed it.
He sucks, and I rewatched this episode, and I was like, oh yeah, the whole opening plays now like the worst villain ever, like you said, Kim, because he's being like so charming and texting her about food trucks and being so like, me, I'm not going to try to hug you. That'd be too awkward in their first date.
It was just so annoying because we clocked him as being suspicious in the previous episode. So you were really just spending this entire episode waiting for the other shoe to drop that had been slow motion dropping since the previous episode. And it was like, yeah, of course he's a jerk. Like, of course he is. We all saw that coming. And having it just be the tag at the end, basically, it was just like, ugh, I know he sucks. Like obviously he sucks. And how did he get her blood? What were they doing?
Where did he hide that big syringe?
When did that come up?
I completely agree with you on that. Actually enjoy, almost maybe because we saw it coming as the audience, I actually enjoyed how they did the reveal, because she got to deal with being pissed at him before she found out evil villain. So it doesn't have to be like more of her like pining for him or whatever. But I do agree with you. How the hell did she get? How did he get her?
I don't want to kink shame anyone here, but if I were her, I would have been suspicious when that got factored in.
Right? You never know. I actually thought this was a really well directed episode for a couple of I loved Jen wandering around trying to get a signal. And with searching for the signal, and then it would be like far away shots, like very dramatic. And I really liked when she's driving to Abomination's compound, and they're playing they're playing it like it's The Shining. It's like overhead shots, really dramatic music, and then it cuts to her singing Mbuff.
Also, the Friday, Saturday, like that motif already felt like it was evoking The Shining,
yes.
And then to do the drive through the woods, I thought was very, very funny and cute. Although I didn't know the purpose of it, but I was like, sure, whatever. I love a needless reference that doesn't go anywhere. Fine. Who cares?
And the opening shot as well, the overhead shot of the bathroom was really cool, really evocative. It made her small and, a new perspective. It was cool. I liked it.
Yeah, I thought there was a lot of creativity to this. And I think it worked fine for me thematically, only as far as her playing into the I hooked up with a guy and now he's not texting me back. Let's play it like a horror movie. I thought that was funny. Make it when it did that Saturday, that dramatic cut. It made me laugh. She mentioned this episode was written by Zeb Wells just because he's written a million Marvel comics and writer on Robot Chicken. So just someone who comes from a deep comic book background here. So Josh, Inner Circle, he's texting Hulk King. There are only 2 episodes left. All right, let's do our Daredevil bets here, because I kept thinking penultimate episode. Actually, I should have said that last week, that it's it makes sense to me now. Going into the final episode, that's where she'll talk to Daredevil. But now I'm maybe it is the finale. Maybe it is them working together in a finale. What do you guys think of this fun? Daredevil watch. We only got 2 more weeks to find out.
I mean, it feels like it's going to be a 2-part finale to me. So my instinct is that he's going to show up next week, and then probably be in the finale as well, or possibly maybe he'll do the heavy lifting next week and then take a back seat for the finale.
I think he's emceeing the gala.
Has Daredevil?
Yeah, I think that's it. I think he's just going to show up as the MC of the gala. He's not going to interact with Jen at all. The trailer was a lie.
And the clip I saw at D23 was a lie?
A total lie. It was to throw you off specifically.
Feige!
See, Eric keeps almost saying the F word, and yet I get in trouble.
You gotta dance around it. You gotta bob and weave. Raynard City Update asks a very important question. What is it about Mbop that is so delicious that Hansen needs to celebrate it in song? Oh, what is it about Bop that is so delicious that Hansen needs to celebrate it in song?
I mean, just say that word. It lends itself to a celebration in song. I don't know. That's my answer. Bop. Bop.
It's fun to say.
Fun little tangent here. We just found out Billy has never seen a Fast and Furious movie.
I'm sorry.
But she has heard of them. I had a very funny moment with my wife, my lovely wife, Trish, walking through an airport about 3 years ago.
I'm really sorry. I'm actually going to go.
It's okay. When I somehow mentioned Mbop, and she's like, looks at me with a blank, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, Mbop. And she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And,
what?
And I kept trying to sing her the chorus, which just made us both laugh because she's like, you're singing nonsense. And
I've at least heard of Fast and Furious.
Exactly. So I can't wait for her to see this episode. I kind of want to make sure to watch it with her.
Trish,
for that.
What?
Yeah. So I want to see just to see that.
All right. I guess she just at no point had the radio on.
I don't know.
What was it, 1994?
Yeah, but then it's like it kept playing in supermarkets. I don't know.
She's busy.
I don't know. Alan Preslin says Daredevil could show up in a post-credit scene next week. Well, I think that goes back to will they do the tease? They did the mask tease, but will we get the Charlie Cox on screen? We'll do the lead-in thing.
They have seemed to have ditched the mid-credits scenes, though.
They did.
So if he shows up, it'd probably like a stinger at the very end of the episode rather than the mid-credits thing, which I'm fine with. I like going to bed when the episode ends and not sitting through the credits. So as nice as they are, I like going to sleep after.
Yeah,
So.
I get it. Candy Cover asked, why didn't she just call him? I mean, I think it's the whole she stopped herself from the second text, right? It's like
yeah. You get ghosted on a text, you do not follow up with a call. That's just
no way.
Oof, no way.
Yeah. I did like all the supervillains screaming at her about the texting.
Everyone knows that's bad.
Right. Let's see. Who hasn't sweated? Spatrick F. Who hasn't sweated over not getting a text for at least 22 minutes? I don't know if you picked a sitcom's length, but agreed. Right.
Yeah, it was a relatable problem. Even superheroes have to deal with getting ghosted sometimes. Granted, she got ghosted for superhero-related reasons, but she doesn't know that.
That's right. Do you think I guess he's just the biggest jerk ever. Because I'm like, wouldn't he have appreciated something about this great woman?
He sucks. I hope she punches him into space.
I guess I just talked back into why I did like this episode, though, which is because we've talked about why is everyone crappy to Jen and why is she crappy to herself. So I did like her being like, Jen is great,
She has to learn to love herself before others can love her.
That's
or
right.
whatever that nonsense is.
She does now. She's worked it out.
Great. Maybe next episode she'll meet someone good.
We can only hope.
Daredevil.
Yes.
Oh, Ian Newfield brings up a great point. I love that Emil had a favorite chicken, don't we all? He said hello to Princess. I clocked that name because we got another pet Avenger. Princess the Jack.
Yeah, we're establishing some more pets. We need a chicken on the team.
That's right. Pet Avengers, guys. If we don't get it, I'm going to be...
If I've learned anything from Chicken Run, chickens are great in a heist, in a crisis, in a pie.
And they can keep running even after you cut their head off.
That's terrible. Same
Well,
though.
it's true.
Okay, let's dig into this one here. Matt and Valinsky, you're opening a can of worms, but we're gonna continue into that can of worms. Why would Intelligentsia hate Shulky besides being a woman and Disney shielding from criticism? She never said the things that make her hateable IRL publicly in universe. I would say.
Yeah.
What
I was going to say, just because she's a woman, there is no other reason is for me. But you said besides being a woman. So.
No, but I agree with you, Kim. It's like literally, yes, of course, they were like, they were being meta, even without, they were writing this show. They were doing this show before, it debuted, but they already knew what people were going to say. It's like, we already saw with this show, people who had never heard of She-Hulk and didn't know she'd been around for 40 years being like, oh, they just made a female Hulk. And so that's why people would hate her, because it's like, why do they hate her in real life, sight unseen? Like, oh, they're copying their I think we have a lot of evidence there.
I feel like if we're looking for the only person with like a legitimate motive at this point is Titania. So I do think it does continue to point to her being at least a little involved. But other than that, yeah, I mean, I'd love to know a reason beyond just she is woman. Like, although, again, there are plenty of websites out there devoted to hating women just for being women on the internet. So why not have that for superheroes as well? But, trying to, steal her blood feels like a step further than that.
Exactly. I totally agree with that. It's like I'm sure they really hate her, but they also want to get her blood for nefarious purposes. So
yeah, if it was just a message board talking about how like she needs to like shut her woman mouth or something, that would be one thing. But the fact that there's an actual like plan of action being implemented makes me think that there's a deeper motive than just I hate woman superhero girl.
Right. Zaylor asks, how many filler episodes can the show afford? Here's the thing: is like, again, I guess I don't see them as filler. Like, it goes back to the whole like it's a sitcom thing about like I ultimately feel like it's asking how many filler episodes can Parks and Recreation afford. It's like, and I guess maybe it is a burden that it's MCU because we almost have to have an overarching plot as well. Maybe it'd be nice if they didn't even have to deal with someone trying to steal her blood, and it literally was just wacky comedy 100%. But I do think that's what I think the creators would love. I bet they'd be fine with that too, right?
Yeah, I mean, I with Parks and Rec, that's a good example because it had like what 30 episode seasons was the thing where you could have like episodes where you're just goofing off and stuff. Whereas with this, you're getting 9 episodes, and every single show up to this point has been establishing something important in the MCU. So it does feel kind of like they're just sort of kicking around, waiting for the thing that the show is supposed to do to happen. And I would love just those moments, but because it's the MCU, it does feel like they're just twiddling their thumbs waiting for the thing to happen.
Right. James Bunt says something similar about I'm finding the Marvel drama is drowning out the comedy. I don't think it's drowned out in that I do find this not hysterical, but a charming comedy, but it's funny. Like, yeah, I do think it kind of has to like wrestle with the Marvel drama involved. What do you think, Kim, about that push-pull?
I agree with that. And like I said before, I think that if it was more consistently funny, the jokes were better. On the whole, there have been moments that I found very funny, I will say that. But I think it would be a better balance, and I would care less about the fact that I think the comedy undercuts the drama of it all, because it would work better. Yeah. But I'm happy to have both. Lots of things have an overarching plot that gets revealed, I don't know, resolved at the end of the season or at the end of the entire series, while it tells smaller stories within it. And that works fine for me, but I just would like the comedy to be better.
I think this really would have benefited from a few more. I don't need 22, like a full network, but maybe 15 episodes or something like that. Because, then I think they maybe could have balanced more. I do want to say 2 things that made me laugh. I put them in bold. They're both man bull related, which is, come on, I stacked those, which he throws Wrecker into the chairs. And I just like her saying, Tatiana Maslany delivering the line, I know it's a bad look, man bull. Because she did that very good.
I did laugh when, I don't remember which one said it, but one of them had not heard of the country Spain before.
Yes.
And I thought that was funny. that got me. I thought that was so weird and silly that it's just like, it got me.
And then he was like, you never heard of Spain.
Yes.
James Bunt, thank you. I had mentioned maybe we should talk about this before we even started filming this, and then you reminded me. Any thoughts on Hugh Jackman in Deadpool 3? Let's wrap up here because I said we didn't do a video about that. We might have if scheduling had worked out. But let's quickly address that on our Marvel discussion of the week. Hugh Jackman returning in Deadpool 3. Kim, what do you think?
Well, there's lots of questions about it and lots of opinions about it. Is it undoing Logan and the wonderful send-off he had through Logan? I mean, for me, no. Tonally, they're very different. Yeah. We know it's going to be very meta and something entirely different in Deadpool 3. And I'm looking forward to it. Those two are funny. They work well together, him and Ryan Reynolds. And that's what I'm most looking forward to, rather than necessarily him reprising the role of Wolverine, which I would like to see go to someone else in the MCU ultimately.
What do you think, Bailey?
I'm just so excited that we're finally going to see Deadpool cosplayers at Comic-Con.
Yes.
I think we don't see enough of those.
Maybe some Harley Quinns can get
It's
in.
about time.
And Hugh Jackman. Any thoughts on that?
Oh, I like him. I'll see him in anything.
Okay.
That's it. That's the extent of my... I honestly don't often pay attention to the trailers, especially for movies that are so far out, because I don't like spoiling things for myself. I don't tend to watch trailers, really. So I hear he's in it. I think that would have been a funny surprise, but I imagine that this is also funny. I was just like, good, a Deadpool 3. That was my reaction. Just, cool. We're doing this again. Fine.
I'm very excited, just because it just sounds super fun. And I agree with you, Kim. It's like, it doesn't ruin Logan for me. It's all how they do it, right? I used this example the other day with a friend where I'm like, look, I can watch the end of Star Trek 2 10 million times and still cry, even though they bring freaking Spock back in the next movie. And I've seen him and all the things he did after that. But he still died in that movie. It was very sad. Spoilers for Star Trek 2.
Wow, Eric.
So Logan, same thing. It's like, I guess there's a way they could feel like they're ruining Logan, but I think they'll handle it both jokingly and respectfully. It's exciting and crazy. It's one of those things that it's like, because I agree with you. Ultimately, we need a new Wolverine, and I think we will get one. But it is funny that right now they're just like, hey, like we can bring anyone back, and they will. So.
Maybe they're going to like de-age him with movie magic so that he looks like how he looks in the first X-Men movie,
where he's not even that buff.
And they're just going to establish that like this is a different universe than the one that Logan happened in. This is less gritty. Or he shows up in Deadpool's dream in a beautiful dream ballet, which Hugh Jackman would go for.
I mean, if there was any movie to get the musical number, right?
Yes.
Go for it.
Beautiful stuff.
So I am excited and hopeful. But that's all we get. All we can have, guys, is hope. Let's talk about what we've got coming up on this very channel. Talk about Twitch. What do we got?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked, Eric.
Yes.
At 3 p.m. Pacific today at twitch.tv/fandom, me and my delightful co-star Emma Fife will be continuing our Cthulhu point-and-click adventure, Call of the Sea. Should be a ton of fun, a blast and a half. We solve puzzles. Sometimes we brute force puzzles, but they get solved.
Sure.
It's a lot of fun. And then tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific time, also on twitch.tv/fandom, we're doing our weekly Rings of Power watch along. We've been watching it every single week. It's been a lot of fun. I never know what's going on. Emma knows exactly what's going on. It's a great balance. I recommend joining. It's a blast. It's the best way to watch the show, honestly. I've had so much fun.
Also, maybe either William in my ear or Bailey knows the answer to this question. The Honest Trailers commentary for Sandman, is that up now?
It is up now.
It's up now. Okay, it is live now. So if you missed that, because I know it went up a couple days late, you can watch that right now on this very channel. We will be back next week to talk about Andor on Wednesdays, this show on Thursdays for the penultimate, everyone knows I love that word, penultimate episode that may or may not involve Daredevil in some capacity.
I hope they just air the first one again. They don't even address it.
Maybe you'll come around.
It's like 90% the same footage.
We'll see. We'll find out. That's a bold prediction. It could happen.
It would be funny enough that my opinion on the episode would turn completely around. Guaranteed.
They got her back, guys.
That's what it would take.
All right, that's it for now. Thank you for joining us. See you next time.
Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.